Hello, Richard. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great, my pleasure. So, Stefan, tell us your story and how you got to where you are today, what you're doing with helping businesses.
Yeah. My business journey started about 25 years ago as a freelance accountant, and I had to change my business model quite a bit with the time. So, because when I was a freelance accountant, I recognized that many businesses just wanted my help the first 2 weeks a month, and then the rest of the months is I had just thought, what else will I do? So I got into to help businesses with creating financial plannings and do analysis and so on. And with the time, I stumbled over an even more interesting opportunity, which is called interim manager. And that's basically a manager you rent for a specific time, for a specific project. So I decided to switch gears and become an interim manager for finance and accounting, which I did for more than a decade. And I was always joking. I had been the most expensive apprentice because with every assignment, I learned more and more about businesses, and I had been with numerous businesses in different industries. So it was really a wonderful journey, even so it has been a lot of work, and you had seen a lot of businesses struggling. So, and while I had been an interim manager for quite some time, one moment in time I realized a couple of years ago that I wasn't talking with my clients that much about numbers anymore, right? So the numbers still had been important because I was the numbers guy, right? So, but anyway, we had been much more talking about their visions, their business strategies, about new projects, and they wanted feedback about ideas they had, which they didn't could discuss with their employees or shareholders or whatever they had in mind, because there are probably ideas every business owner has that if you talk with your employees, they might be frightened, right? Because of the ideas that come up. So they use that to talk with me. So I realized I'm much more in coaching than I was in finance and accounting. So, and that again allowed me to switch gears. So I got into coaching more deeper. I learn more about which different coaching methods that there are available, and I can tell there are hundreds, right? So it's really amazing. But as an as a coach, you can't know everything and all methods. So you have to decide which are the ones that you prefer and which you see are a perfect fit for your clients. So I have a handful of coaching methods I use, and that's what I'm actually doing. I'm coaching, and because of my experience as an interim manager for finance and accounting, I decided that needs to be blended into my coaching approach, right? So, and from that point of view, I said, let's create a coaching model, a framework that everyone can use to have more clarity about what they need to do and when, right? So when you take a look to today's business, it can be quite overwhelming, right? With all the resources available, with all the different marketing techniques, with all the different tools you have to use or can use in your business. So I said, yeah, why not create something that's providing a holistic view about the business and allow the owner or the manager to know exactly, oh, I have to focus on a specific area and improve that before I move on. Uh, so
Okay, so you have a book and you talk about the 7 keys to impact to be an impact in business and in life. Talk to us about those 7 keys and if you could break them down each one by one.
yeah, so that's actually the book I have written, which explains my coaching model, and it also blends in the stories from my past experience, where you can see these areas into real life, right? So the 7 areas are called dependencies, mutuality, profit and finances, processes, rules and regulations, stakeholder, and strategy. So, and I just described them a little bit so that everyone could understand what I mean with that. Dependencies, for example, everything is depending on something else. So if you take a business depends on customers, on vendors. If you produce something, you even depend on machinery. So there are lots of things, and there are dependencies that are good for your business and bad for your business. And it's about finding out which ones you have to increase and which ones you have to lower. The topic or the area of mutuality is about finding the win-win in every transaction. So there is no forcing about having someone agree with you, especially not your clients or even your employees. But it doesn't mean you are a doormat where everyone can walk through, right? It's mutuality really means to see that when there is a benefit for either side, a transaction makes sense. And it's much more smooth than if you have a long discussion about features and whatsoever. So mutuality is an integral part, and this is something I have experienced in the past so many times. Because when I was a finance interim manager, I felt that mutuality, the energy between the people working in the business and the clients and even between me and the business must be on a higher level. And that's what mutuality even represents, right? So, and then, of course, profit and finances is what it says. It's all about the money, right? So what is a business worth where you have no profit? It doesn't make it's fun in the long run. So you have to take a look to the finances. The same is true for processes. So every business, even if you have a one-man show, I could say, you have certain processes. You do things in a specific way, and even that could be optimized so that your flow is much smoother. And if a business is bigger and bigger, it's much more important that processes are really in line and are running on a really good performance. So, and then the topic rules and regulations is something that's all about being compliant with local law, with international law, but rules and regulations also include the inner part. When we take a look to ourselves, we all have our own rules, right? So, and if we violate our own rules or see our own rules, like values we have being violated, that brings up some inner conflicts or anger or fear or whatever. So it's also important to just look at that as well. So it's not only the law that you have to comply with, but also the inner rules every one of us runs around with, or you can even say beliefs we carry around. So in stakeholder, every business has stakeholders, and we can argue that it has a little bit of dependency, but stakeholder has a little bit of a different touch to it. It's about relationships. For example, stakeholders could be the employees of a business, the customers, the vendors again, but also financial institutions and even government bodies, right? So it depends on what the business is engaged with. And even society could be a stakeholder, because everyone who has an interest in the business or has a concern about it is a stakeholder. And we don't have to forget that even the business owner or manager are stakeholders by themselves. And usually these people, I saw it for myself so many times, forget about themselves, what they have, what they need to prosper, right? And of course, stakeholders are also your family and friends because they want to spend time with you. So you have to balance that as well. And finally, it's strategy, and strategy is all about planning. And it's not about having a plan that's really in detail. You can do that, but it's more about knowing where you want to go in within the next couple of months, within the next year, or within the next 3 years. But just on a rough picture, so that you know this is the way I like to go, and you can measure if you're really going that direction, right? So that's the 7 areas I call the 7 key areas of impact in business and life, because interestingly, we can name them a little bit different, but you will even find them in your personal life. That's something I discovered way later when I was working with the coaching model myself. Right? I said, "Oh, that's amazing to see that in every area of my life as well."
So out of the seven, which one is the number one key that the business struggle with?
Well, that might be different for every business, and it might even be different for the time or the situation of the business. And I usually say that the aim is not to bring all these 7 areas into balance. It has to be a natural flow, right? So sometimes it might be that a business needs to look closer to their profits and finances. Another time they need to improve their processes. Another time they need to clear some dependencies. So it's really like it is in business. Everything is changing. So the coaching model goes along with it and helps the business owner or manager to really see, oh, this is the area I have to focus right now. And right now is something I usually say it's not about a day or two. It could be a week, it could be a month, or even a longer period that you work on one area, but you still have all these other areas in mind and may do something about them or not. It depends on where the business is right now. Yeah. So there is not a specific one area that if you do something about that, everything is fine. No, it's the harmonious flow of all the 7 that makes a business prosper.
So what are the pain points that businesses struggles with when they come to you?
Well, mostly it's about having clarity of where they want to go. And it's not only about the business, it's also about um, aligning business and personal goals. Right. So I have met so many business owners which have been so obsessed with their business, and I ask, well, what else do you do in your life beside your business? And I say, what? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And but we can't separate them to the two, right? There is business and there is your personal life, and they have to come together. So yeah, we have to align them, and and the clarity about that's the most important thing. And as I said at the beginning, in today's world, there is so much things that be bombarded or on the business owner. It could be overwhelming, and I experienced that for myself. So I said, well, that I can't be the only one, right, feeling that way. And I met so many people already that said, yeah, that's the point. I need something that allows me to really drill down, to focus, and then take action. And that's actually what the coaching model and what I'm doing with my coaching helps business owners and business manager get clarity of what they want, focus on what is important and what has the highest impact, and then taking action.
So what are the mistakes that you see businesses or business owners do when they start building their business?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I said, what are the mistakes that you see business do when they start their business, like growing their business and all that?
So well, it's really, it depends on the business again, right? So there is no I wouldn't say there is one size fits all formula for businesses, right? It depends on what your clients are, what your business is doing. There isn't any, for example, I had been a lot of times with businesses in the mechanical engineering industry. So they build smaller machines and they build sometimes bigger machines bigger. I mean, they have been priced over 1 million and more. And such businesses run differently if you have a retail business or business that's just one person or two people or something. So, and then it depends on the industry. So sometimes you have businesses which have a much higher turnover in their stock or inventory, and so they need a different approach. But the main thing is to really know, as I said, to know what they want, to find the area which is most important right now, and then find out which of the actions they could take probably have the highest impact. And highest impact could mean different things. Highest impact could mean to grow your revenue, but it could also mean growing your customer base, right? So both will be reflected in your profit and loss with the time. So the most impactful action could be very different for businesses. Even so, there might be things that are really common in every business, but I'm someone who is more flexible and likes this flexibility and sees every business needs to be handled a little bit individually, even if you have, let's say, 80% things that might be common in all businesses.
With AI now which is big right now at the moment, how do you navigate stuff now with your clients?
Yeah, AI is something I've recently been digging deeper into myself, because I say, okay, that it might even come into coaching that you see AI tools, but it is helpful, and I use them for myself, but I use them in a way to get ideas, for example, for my marketing, for content writing. But mainly it's just about a top level approach. So I have an idea in mind, but I use the AI tools to really give me some hints how I could better describe what I'm doing. On the other hand, AIs are great tools for some businesses. For example, if you're in the software industry, it's an amazing tool to help you with coding an app or something, whatever it is. So from a coaching perspective, I would see there will be AI tools coming which allow some basic coaching methodologies. But from my experience, it is that at one moment in time, everyone likes to talk to a human person, right? So I had that experience myself, right? So and even so, I'm a coach. I have coaches myself, right? So, and so you can do a lot yourself. You can do a lot with AI tools, but there comes a time where you really need to talk with someone, explain your situation, and the other one helps you to see some different perspectives. And I don't believe that AI is ready to do that within, I don't know, the next year or two or something. So but that's my personal belief, because it needs a lot more knowledge and background to do just that, right? Humans can much better adapt to other humans. So from that point of view, AIs are great tools, but that's what I use them for, as a tool.
So how do you work with your clients?
So there are different ways how I work with clients. My clients could start with my book, the Interconnected Success book that I had just published. And also I transformed the book into an online course, which is much more comprehensive, which has a much more coaching questions and much more resources behind it. And also there is the opportunity to get into a group coaching with me. So meeting on a weekly basis and having discussions about the coaching model, how to apply it. And it's like giving feedback, and it's also about like an accountability call, right? So for everyone who is joining. And of course, I'm also offering a one-on-one coaching program as well. So if someone really says, no, I don't like to be in a group, I'd like to have a coach myself. So I'm offering that as well.
But I mean, when your clients come to you, let's say a manager comes to you and they want help, what's your framework when you work with them?
Well, I use my coaching model, the interrelations coaching model, with the 7 key areas. And as I said, I have different coaching methods I use within this framework. So my coaching model is a framework, and I'm using about 3 to 5 different coaching methods to really get the client to see different perspectives of the situation he or she is in, right? So, and yeah, that's how it's been done, right?
Where can people follow you on social media or the internet?
So everyone who is interested in connecting with me can find me on LinkedIn. I'll also be available on Facebook, and my online course and group coaching is available on my website, which is called selfcoaching365.com. And if someone is interested in one-on-one coaching, that's on my website called s2executivecoaching.com. And if someone is interested in that, they could book a call with me to see if we can work together and if I'm able to help them.